Dharma Swakhyata Bhavana, reflections on the nature of Dharma, our nature. Very often we have found ourselves standing at crossroads, not knowing which path to take, and suddenly we are met by a friendly face that guides us with directions and who ensures that we reach our destination safely. Our immediate reaction would be a sense of gratitude with simple words like, "Thank you, I'm really indebted to you. You certainly made my day a lot better." Then, well on the road with absolute certainty, confidence, and focus, we would think of ourselves of how that individual gave us clarity, how his directions were extremely helpful, and how well he explained the directions. Oh, how well said of him. Similarly, when we are on the crossroad of life and someone guides us on the right path, our natural exclamation would be, "How well said!" Well said is the literal meaning of the Sanskrit word Swakyata. Dharma Swakhyata Bhavana is all about reflecting on the nature of Dharma. This reflection is a small but right step towards developing a feeling of awe and gratitude towards Dharma. This reflection helps us in realizing how well Dharma has been articulated and propagated by the Tirthankaras. Life is a constant oscillation between the sharp horns of dilemmas, a seesaw between those moments where everything seems right or everything seems wrong. A journey, taking one to the glories and heights and then someday reaching right rock bottom. So, what is it that guides us in these dark times? Who takes care of us and who is responsible for what happens to us? At times, we feel it is our parents and friends. But no matter how much we rely on friends and family, at the end of the day, we have to fight our own battle. It is up to us only to decide what is right and wrong. In these testing times, the insight or the instinct that helps us to take the right path is Dharma. Well, you may question as to how can our right instinct be called Dharma, but this can be answered by right thinking. Actually, we have always had questions about what Dharma really is, often wondering, is Dharma just believing in God as master of our destinies, or is it merely performing religious practices? The Shastras say that Dharma is neither of it. Though there is no universally accepted definition of Dharma or religion, yet the definition provided by Jain Shastras can be a universal one. Jain Shastras define Dharma as the right understanding. Dharyati iti dharma. What is worthy of holding is the dharma. Dharma is an inert force that prevents us from doing things that would hurt us or deprive us of our very own identity. Dharma is a force that is unseen, yet so powerful that it helps us resist temptations. Simply stated, Dharma is what protects us from falling into the pits of hell. When we arrive in this world, we had nothing. When we leave this world, we shall carry nothing. The only thing that remains constant through birth and death is Dharma. Dharma is not found within the four walls of the temple, nor in some peaceful environment that encompasses us. Dharma lies within our very soul. As we have never tried to contemplate what Dharma is, we are still not aware of it. Being unaware, we cannot appreciate the beauty and the benefits of Dharma, and as a result cannot accept it as a savior. We have tendency of contemplating upon every single thing that happens to us. No matter how dull it may seem in the process, we have wasted our intellectual potential. The motive of this reflection, this bhavana, is to inculcate and focus on the frame of mind which would help an individual to not only understand but also accept and acknowledge the importance of Dharma. Very often we understand certain things, but it takes a lot of reasoning and rational explanation to accept them from within. This reflection, this bhavana, aims at achieving the acceptance of Dharma. This can be done only when we understand what Dharma really is. Today's world understands Dharma as only religious practices and rituals. If one follows these rituals, he or she is considered to be a dharmist or pious. Vathu Sahavo Dhamo explains Dharma as a nature of a particular thing. Everything has an inherent nature. While the sugar is sweet, the nature of the salt is salty. While the nature of the thorns is to prick and cause pain, the nature of the rose is to have fragrance and give pleasure. When we ruminate upon this concept, we shall understand that our nature is our own dharma, and this itself dawns a realization that everything functions according to its nature. If we are not functioning according to our nature, then we are not following dharma. So, what's our nature? Our pure nature is free from the vices of anger, ego, deceit, greed, aversion, hatred, dislike, jealousy, attachment, love, and so on. Any sort of activity or ritual that helps us abstain from these vices and leads us to our soul should be considered as dharma. Any sort of conscious effort made to be in touch with our pure self can also be classified as dharma. Once we contemplate on this nature of dharma, we shall immediately react with a wow. A sane mind would be elated to know the simple yet very deep equation that where there is anger and ego, there is no dharma. And where there is peace and equilibrium, there is dharma. The endeavor and efforts undertaken to be free from desire is dharma. A blissful mind, which is like a deep ocean without the waves of materialistic desires, is the sweet fruit of dharma. Moksha is a state of pure bliss, and dharma is the state of phenomena which connects us to this pure blissful state, a peaceful union with higher self. Dharma is that inner guide that pulls us out of this delusion by which we seem to consider the temporary as permanent. We already know that delusion or mithyatva is the most dangerous obstacle on the path of spiritual ascent. The more we free ourselves of mithyatva, the more we will be able to connect ourselves with our inner beings. Had our Arihant Paramatma not gifted us with the understanding of Dharma, we would never have a clear vision distinguishing the temporary from the permanent. All we would do is run behind temporary pleasures that seem oh so permanent. Upon understanding and appreciating this power of Dharma, we develop a feeling of gratitude and respect for Dharma. Dharma is that miraculous portion which nourishes our soul, gives us a clear understanding about our reality. Dharma gives us a detailed understanding as to how to live our lives realistically. In spite of knowing that sensual pleasures are distractions, we do nothing but give in to them. Dharma shows us a way of developing self control, being vigilant and not give into the temptations. Only when we follow the commandments of Paramatma or Dharma will we rise above our thirst for pleasures. We need to realize that we are not bodies that we see, we are souls. I am an Atma. Only when we realize this will we understand that worldly pleasures do not matter. The only thing that matters is the well being of our soul. What the world says about us should not be our concern. The only thing that deserves our attention is our soul. How am I supposed to be a better human today than what I was yesterday, and what can I do further to reach closer to the true nature of my soul? Uncertainty, confusion, anger, pity, self hatred, seeing others as our enemies, and depression have become very common attributes, and the only thing that can help us at this junction is Dharma. We must tell ourselves that I do not wish to be restless, sad, or bitter. I want to be happy from within. Nothing external deserves my attention. No fights are worth being involved in. And I do not wish to allow anger to be part of me. I am at peace and I want to be myself. For example, we have been disturbed by Sangya, that is instinct since eternity, especially by the urge of food, that is ahar, fear, bhaya, sensual pleasures, maithuna, and possessiveness, parigraha. The fourfold dharma encompassing dan, being generous, shil, a virtuous character, tap, a controlled way of consuming, that is austerities of fasts, and bhav, good thoughts, respectively combat the basic instinct of good possessiveness, sensuality, craving for food, and fear. We often claim that we follow dharma, but in reality, we haven't even understood what it truly is. Dharma is the process of changing our attitudes and approach towards life, and not just some physical practices. The rituals or kriya associated that we know are all ways to change the way we look at life. The day we truly understand Dharma in its true essence, Nobody will have to persuade us to follow them. Rather, they will come from within. The life of a Jain sadhu is the best example of dharma well imbibed. On close analysis of the life of a Jain monk, one would feel like saying hats off to them. The Tirthankaras and the Shastras or the scriptures that have proclaimed long ago what modern day scientists are discovering today. The Jain scriptures have been very conscious about the environment because they proclaim that each part of the environment is a separate life form in itself and thus ought to be protected. In fact, the Jain scriptures have shown the world a way of life with minimum requirements and zero sin and zero adverse impact on the ecology, the life of a pure monkhood. Lord Mahavir and his disciple monks, up to this day, are living examples of how to live compassionately in full harmony with nature. Although the final goal of Jain monks transcends earthly concerns, but their life is essence in one of being sustainable and being extremely careful towards our environment. Jain sadhus and sadhvis do not use vehicles, they travel barefoot. They do not use electricity or other polluting modern day amenities. They do not cook for themselves, nor do they encourage others to make food for them. They do not touch plants, flowers, and even the smallest of organisms, lest they be pained in any manner. They wash their clothes with minimum amount of water required, so much so that they would prefer to face oppressive heat than think of taking a dip in cool waters, doing which is bound to kill the life forms contained therein. Their way of disposal of waste is also completely eco-friendly. They do not use lavatories and also waste to decompose naturally, which has twofold advantage. Firstly, it doesn't lead to pollution of rivers due to deposition of sewage from drains. And secondly, it provides natural manure for the soil, preventing the need to use chemically harmful fertilizers. Not only this, but the life of a Jain layman is also one incensed with concern for the environment. The principle of non-violence or ahimsa is the most important cornerstone for protection of nature. Jain scriptures have also gone an extra mile by cautioning against performing the 15 major businesses as they involve accumulation of great amount of sin. Today, science also accepts the fact that this 15 businesses are highly polluting and can cause numerous diseases. The scriptures also show the way to inner purity by portraying 10 yati dharmas. An in-depth understanding of this 10 dharmas or virtues, which we shall see in more detail, would make us realize to how fortunate we truly are. Without these 10 virtues, even our lives as laymen would have been like erupting volcanoes of pain, suffering, and conflict. With these 10 virtues, it would be an endless ocean of peace, joy, and calm. This was just a small window into the beautiful art of living called Jainism. What science proclaims today has already been preached about in ancient Jain scriptures. If only we were to open our eyes to what the Tirthankaras have said, we would realize how true and applicable it is in the present scenario. The more we try to unearth the mysteries of our religion, the more we shall fall in love with the commandments of the Tirthankaras. We will reflect in the next video on the beauty and power of Dharma as taught by our Tirthankaras. There are not enough words that can do justice to describe the splendor of Dharma. It is only because of the practice of Dharma that the seeds do not cross their limits. The sun and the moon rise at their regular time. Dharma has the power to not only take us to moksha, but to give us happiness in the present moment itself. It is rightly said, it doesn't matter what world you live in. What really matters is the world that lives in you. True Dharma is the power that transforms our inner world into a beautiful, peaceful, and joyful place. The Dharmic Cure. There was once a king who wished to protect his newborn son from all diseases in the future, so he sent for the best doctors in the city. The first doctor claimed that his medicine was such that it would cure all existing maladies, but if there was no disease, it would give rise to new ones. The angry king instantly banished the doctor. The second doctor said that his medicines would merely cure existing illness, but would have no additional benefit. While the third doctor claimed that his medicine was so powerful that not only would it cure old disease, but also improve the overall health of the little prince. The king was impressed by this third doctor's medicine and rewarded him greatly. Dharma is like the third medicine. The tenets propagated by Tirthankaras are like the nectar that cures and nourishes the soul. Altogether, by not only destroying our pre-accumulated karmas, but also leading us towards the blissful state of complete spiritual health or moksha. This medicine of Dharma has been classified into 10 tablets in the form of virtues which are known as Yati Dharmas. Details of 10 Yati Dharmas will be explained in our next video.